Hello, hello. Microphone check 1, 2, 3. How's everybody doing? Let's give some folks a chance to come on, to have a chance to come on in. Give them about 10 minutes. What's up, Fiend? All right. Thanks for the email, Lynn. Kind of reading through it now. Interesting. Have to check that out. Freckled. Well, looks like we got a sponsor. Thanks, Freckled. How are you? Happy Saturday. Thanks again, Lynn, for including that link. What's up, Boston? True crime and other stuff. What's up? Slay the rings. What's good? What do the experts say? I don't know, but you're about to hear what a dummy has to say. That'll have to work for now. Jody Lynn. Here comes the flex. Solar Chef Steph. Thank you for your support. Freckled says, back at the beginning, I was on Cat's show. Rest in peace, Michael Cat show, and he talked about all of this stuff. Yeah, guys, this is nothing new. I mean, specifically, but as far as signatures and things like that, we've been talking about that from the very, very beginning. Pretty sure it was Robert Ives who let that cat out of the bag. What's up, D? Yeah, I read your summary. Oh, is that? Oh, I thought that was your writing. Okay, let me read the summary. Okay, let's see here. This was right off the podcast, and I'll read it. What's up, Vaughn T? What's up, Digital? What's going on, guys? You enjoying your Saturday? Okay, it says here, new episode of the Murder Sheet presents a response from Todd Click, former assistant police chief from Rushville, Indiana, who was mentioned in the recent defense filing. Thanks, D, for posting the merch link there. Thank you for that. Miss Dog Lover, 4 a.m. here, so off to sleep. That's what time I get up. Shout out to Carbon. Sorry, Jody. I need somebody to save me. All right, let's read the summary here that Lynn sent over. There are two things that I would like to clear up immediately, though. Detective Ferenczi and Detective Murphy were not Rushville cops. Detective Ferenczi was a detective from the Terre Haute Police Department that was assigned to the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force. Detective Murphy was an Indiana State Police detective that was also assigned to the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force. So the FBI was associated with until at least July 2021. Secondly, no one in law enforcement believes Abby and Libby were killed in a ritual sacrifice. That is the defense twisting facts for sensationalism. You can quote me on those two items. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys could hit the like button. We're about to find out, Slatherings. I did a little experiment today. I think we might watch that first. We're going to hear a little bit from Barb, what she said on Court TV, and then we're going to watch a little an experiment I did earlier today. I shared it with the members earlier. We'll play that, and we'll kind of stop and kind of analyze and see if, we see signs of like maybe there's ruins in every random toss of a stick. You know what I mean? It's just bound to happen. The pareidolia of it. Alrighty. Hey, True Crime Web in the place to be. What's up, Steve? Okay, so let's listen to what Barb had to say about the information she was getting. And she basically says she's had this information for years. And I believe her.
If they look like something to you or look like they're randomly placed.
All right. Can you guys hear that okay? Okay, listen very carefully to what she says here.
I have spoken to many investigators who were on the scene at the time who say the assumption was they were randomly placed. They did not see a pattern. They didn't see intentionality there. The other interesting thing about these sticks, they did not collect them when they...
All right. So they didn't even think to collect them. It didn't even click in their head like, hey, this looks like some type of design. That didn't happen for about several weeks, according to Barbara McDonald's sources. Okay. Now,
if they look like some...
Sorry, wrong one. Okay. So here is a little experiment that I did this morning. I've shared it with my members already, but let me know what you guys think. Okay, so this is the story that's being told by the defense here. I know this one kind of looks like a hatchet, is what one of my members said earlier today. I kind of tend to agree. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically show you live. I'm going to grab these in piles and basically try to cover a surface area randomly. So we'll start with the long one there. So I figured he's somewhat rushed and he's trying to cover them. He's afraid somebody might walk over there and see. Nope, that one definitely looks like something. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the same video and we're going to kind of pause each time I randomly throw the sticks. And I want to see, can you honestly see anything in each random toss? Now, one thing that I do want to point out is this asterisk symbol here with the 3 sticks on the right. That was the most natural way I felt like placing the sticks to cover a surface area, especially when I would toss them and they didn't fall the way that I wanted them. And I would walk up and carefully, the killer would most likely walk up, grab it, and then replace it. I'm not even sure they're runes, Jody. I think it's just a random placement from a rushed cover up job, I guess. Not in the traditional sense. Okay, so I'm just picturing there's a pile of sticks, sticks laying around, maybe even pre-cut. Okay, so give me a second here. Okay. So do these look like they match anything? What, Lynn? The corner? Yeah, it was a great interview, Katie. I agree. Freckle said, someone at the crime scene. I don't think that's true. I don't think it was anybody at the original crime scene. I think it was somebody who was helping with the investigation, like several weeks later, was like, maybe we need to rethink this. Because Ives even said they thought they were going to catch this guy like within a few days. So when days start turning into weeks, you got to start coming up with something. Hey, what's up, Diana? Welcome. Okay, so this was totally random. Does it look like anything? Hey, Julia, I've been saying this whole time. Even if it wasn't Odin related, why wouldn't they collect the sticks for DNA? Not sure. I don't think you can collect the entire forest. But yeah, I think I would have. Maybe wrap them all individually. There's not that many. AK, what's up? Hey, I went and seen that drawing. It's a little bit too detailed for my little channel here, but I thought it was pretty good. Not quite sure I agree with the placement of the longer stick, but overall it's pretty good representation of what they were saying in the memorandum. The defense isn't saying Click and Co. said ritualistic killings. They're claiming he went above and beyond to ensure it was known that the murderer were of Nordic beliefs. How'd they know that, though? Well, first we got to look at the evidence, right? You can't just skip over it. That's what we're doing right now. Is it random or are these ruins? All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, got a guy rushing. He's trying to cover his victims. See, that was just natural right there. It's like you just want to do it that way. Oh, here, so we'll stop there. So, of course, we got the one that looks like the asterisk. And then, I don't know, maybe this energy one with the two sticks kind of poking out. Maybe good luck. It was almost like his choice of sticks. No matter what you did, it was going to look like it maybe something, you know? And there was a deer camera out there and there were trees cut down. So I'm not sure if somebody put up a deer camera and then cleared out an area. Maybe they were feeding deer and hoping to catch them on the camera. So there may have been some pre-cut sticks already laying around. Not from the killer, just from, just regular traffic through there. There's a lot of deer that go through there. Cocktail dress. Do you ever hike? I do. And every time I do, I always see rocks and weird design or sticks and weird. Yeah, it's like they naturally do that. Richard Allen has hiked before. He was just covering the bodies. Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. Is it random or was it done with purpose? Well, we know it was done with purpose. The purpose was to cover, but I mean, was he trying to communicate? Derby Kitty. They didn't collect the sticks for DNA because maybe the real killer's DNA is on there. Cover up. That's a stretch. Digital says they could have shifted when the bodies were found and checked on anyway. Yeah, they said there was deer over there. For all we know, the deer were nudging the sticks. AK says, then why did they believe the murderers were of Nordic beliefs? Well, they didn't think that until several weeks after. According to Barbara and her sources close to the investigation, nobody thought that. That's why they didn't collect the sticks. But when you come up on that crime scene and you listen to what I've said, he said, we thought we were going to solve this within a couple of days. When a couple of days start to turn into several weeks, okay, we need to start looking at another angle. And just because they're trying to, follow this rabbit hole, doesn't mean that the defense team needs to find that and latch onto it. You know what I mean? What's up, Brown Skittle? Good to see you. Dana says if they were placed as ruins, the killer would have made sure that you could see the symbol right away. Maybe he did at first. Maybe something caused them to move. Annie says, I don't see anything. Kimmy Kinnick says, but then there are those sticks that were placed like horns. Well, let me ask you, Kimmy, did you see any sticks that were placed like horns? Or are you just repeating what the defense put in the memorandum? So this is their interpretation. Whoever was leaking information to Barbara McDonald didn't even think it was important to include that. So what they call horns could just be some sticks. If you're throwing these big branches and they're crashing into each other, the smaller pieces of those branches are going to snap off. It's almost like they're taking and trying to warp reality. And a lot of people out there already have a warped sense of reality. Yeah, that's true, Slatherings. In a very violent fashion. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. All right, look at that one. Totally random. So, yeah, that one looks like anarchy. Freckle says, runes. I'm sold. I'll take 6 Kirby vacuums. Hey, what's up, Unsolved? I have been exchanging emails with world-renowned forensic psychologist Dr. Catherine Ramsland the past few days. She was kind enough to respond, posting a video in an hour. I'm beyond worried now. Should ask her what her and Koberger were talking about. The Unsolved says, and we know in America from OJ and Casey Anthony, reasonable doubt is easier to create than we think. I don't know. I don't. A lot of people think that OJ Simpson did it, but there's really nobody out there that believes 100%. Like I know 100% it was OJ Simpson, but we got to watch that entire case play out. You know, they haven't even started the trial. We don't know what they actually have. Apparently, there's going to be many different instances of discovery, probably on both ends, right? So I guess there is plenty of doubt when the defense drops a memorandum just a few days ago with its designed purpose to create doubt. I guess for some that might work. Doesn't work for me. Okay, so I think there's one more. Let's see. So that one actually looks like a design. Look how it laid even one over the top of the other. Thanks, Brown Skittle. Figured it'd be better than throwing giant sticks around the backyard. Okay, let's look at the last one. See, now I'm just tossing piles and then adjusting them. Oh, that looks like two H's. Looks like a bridge. Katie says you also cut your shooting lanes for bow hunting. Yeah, I believe there was a deer stand out there somewhere. And there was a deer camera right there. So that would make sense. And I know a lot of people who would set up deer cameras and then put a deer feeder out right in front of the camera on a timer. Try to catch some good footage. What's up, Dana? What's up, Anthony? I'm not battling because I haven't made up my mind yet, Anthony. But I'm not just going to blindly believe anything, right? Especially not in the way it was released. Yeah, and the way they explain the sticks being laid over Abby, honestly, I was tempted to lay him like that every time. It just makes sense, right? If the purpose is to cover a surface, that's how you would do it. And the fact that there's that big, long, big one that goes across Libby, it would make sense that he would drag that big one over there first, right? He's like, okay, I'm going to bring this big one over here and I'll lean all the other ones on top of this big one. That way I can cover more surface. What's up, Annie? Says, I think the defense is absolutely nuts. I mean, I don't think you should trust anybody, Slatherings. But you shouldn't just assume that there's a whole bunch of crooked cops. You can't just say that. And it's weird that some people will believe a really strange conspiracy instead of actually just looking at the facts. They're so quick to look at some random POI. And like I said, you can stack that pancake to the sky. But if you can't match that DNA and these new POIs have an alibi, I mean, it really doesn't matter to the defense. And it really doesn't matter to a lot of you out there. You don't care. I don't know if you guys have visited those Facebooks of the gentlemen that were mentioned by the defense. I mean, the bloodlust is real. You got everybody chasing the scoop. And even random trolls like calling them killers, telling them that they're going to get the death penalty. And I'm not saying that they're innocent. But you're skipping over the evidence and accusing these people without looking at the information first. So I'm just simply doing the first step before I even think about the second step. Okay, so that was that little random experiment. Now let's compare Barbara's sources to what the defense was trying to sell us. Let me share my screen. Yeah, True Crime says it's really hard to say without the real evidence right in front of you. Right. But Click went through all that trouble to obtain a lawyer and send that certified letter to ensure the prosecutor McClellan was aware of their joint findings with the FBI. Well, I think it was more like the defense was kind of quarterbacking that, It's not like they were hiding it. I bet you there's a million different things similar to that FBI report in this investigation. Different rabbit holes that they went through. I'm sure you can come up with any theory and then go through all of the documents within the investigation and find something to fit towards your new theory, completely different than this one. What's up, James? What's up, CJK? Good to see you. Miranda, what's up? Yeah, and if you're going to say somebody was kind of trying to set somebody up or mislead investigators, you have to, even then, they would have to be ruins, right? But I'm not sure about that yet. Okay, so let's take a look at what the defense would have you believe. That these are the signatures that were left. Anthony says going to be tough to convict him without solid DNA, I think, but definitely involved. I don't know. The defense really wants that search warrant thrown out. And plus, we haven't seen the original video that she took. I think that video and that audio might be enough, along with the bullet in his own testimony against himself. Exactly, Dana. Exactly, 100. What's up, Jessica? Did he want to start a fire? I don't know what to think anymore. I hope we get to find out the truth. Oh, I never thought of that. Might bring too much attention. The Sims Express. Barbara McDonald is no one. You have no idea where your info is coming from or if she just latched onto it. Oh, but you have all the answers. You sound like a creep.
Barbara McDonald is no one. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, sleuth.
That's what I hear when that's the voice I hear when I read that. Like some weird creep. What's up, Tech Death? Good to see you. What up? What I doubt is the defense's story. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. Okay, so this is what the defense wants you to believe, and this is what Barbara had years ago, according to her. And remember, the one design that just, in all those random throwings, this is the one that was the most common. It even ended up on the left sometimes in those little experiments that we ran. So I'm definitely not sold on this design here. And I don't know what the heck this is. And there's 5 pieces here, not 4. Mar says he didn't do it. OJ. Yeah, I wasn't convinced. I think there was enough doubt there. And with all the information we have in the media, what's been provided about Richard Allen, yeah, I'm sure there's doubt, but we haven't sat down and listened to any experts. You know, all we've had are knuckleheads like me trying to act like they know what they're talking about. You know, there's going to be a time where somebody who knows their shit is going to look at all of this information. They're going to have the crime scene photos and they're going to sit in front of a jury and they're going to explain why they're an expert. This is why I know my shit. And then they're going to break it down. So we can sit here and say, oh, there's reasonable doubt. It's because we don't know shit. Of course. There's been a reasonable doubt from the beginning. This, you know, this isn't being tried on social media. It's going to go into a courtroom where they carefully pick a jury. Yeah, he's not going anywhere unsolved. Diana said, a YouTuber saw Ramslin at CrimeCon and she said she cannot discuss Brian Koberger as she was his teacher and there's some ethics issues. Yeah, there's some Did you guys ever see that season of Dexter where he kind of links up with that teacher? I'm getting those vibes. It's like his new mentor. Okay, so in my opinion, looking at what Barbara McDonald provided, I mean, it looks much more random, right? So look how different the interpretation is from the guy from her source as opposed to this. AK is asking, if you were trying to hide bodies, would you haphazardly chuck them or lay them straight over their bodies? I don't know. I mean, it depends. What kind of sticks do I have? Am I rushed? Am I panicked? I'm starting to think that he thought somebody was going to come down the bridge on that south end because there was people over there. I have a feeling he thought they were going to come down, walk over to the water, and be able to see across and see the girls. And then he would get busted because he wouldn't have an opportunity to get out of there. So by throwing a bunch of big sticks over there, and he could have done both. He could have thrown them haphazardly and then adjusted them somewhat and then got the hell out of there. I believe there were thermal drones. But I'm not sure. Okay, so you have the defense's interpretation versus Barbara McDonald's source. AK says, but come on, why wouldn't law enforcement collect the sticks? If not just for the DNA, what could be on them? See, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I don't know what you could find. I don't know if you would even expect to find anything. In my opinion, I would. I would have taken the piece of the tree as well, but apparently they didn't think it had significance. So why take it? Miranda says, if this was done after the murders, no way no one's seen them from that bridge. I know it's like a bowl where the site was, but no way had to be done in the cover of darkness. I disagree. Boston says, yes, but tossing sticks over onto somebody or an area, what odds 2 sticks land in a V? I think the odds are good. What is a V made out of? 2 sticks. I think the odds are very high. You might even get a W or an M or a Z. Maybe even an M. I think it's pretty easy. Yeah, exactly, Slatherings. I'm telling you, it's as easy as an alibi and a DNA sample. but they don't need them to be guilty or innocent. They just need everybody to start looking over there. Because if you're looking over there, guess where you're not looking? At their client. It's pretty simple. But people have been coming up with theories. Believe it or not, this was one of my theories. So you have no idea how tempted I am to jump all over this information. So I can be like, I told you so. I could share all the links out of my 500 live streams that were all done in the title was ritualistic for the Delphi case. But I didn't do that because I'm still trying to understand the information. And I also know that there's a human element here. And killers have motivations, and so do defense attorneys, and so do prosecutors. Somewhere in the middle is the actual truth. And I think that's what's important. And if you notice, a lot of the stuff that was mentioned in the memorandum was almost like it was a voiceover for Brad Holder's Facebook. So they were very careful to include a lot of those details, right? Like, oh, some of the ruins had machine marks on them. Okay. Well, they didn't mention that a lot of the trees right there in that area were recently cut down. They weren't mentioning or asking if the killer did that. But there's machine marks on those trees. Oh, didn't mention that, did you? So if there are machine marks, it could be as simple as that. Richard Allen's grabbing the resources that he has around him. Bad acid flux. When you include the placement of sticks in context with the F in blood, it's hard not to apply the same filter to everything else at the scene. Okay. So we can address that. That's the thing. Are these ruins? And is that an F? I'm just not sold on it yet. Okay, now remember at the base of the tree. Now this is right at the 4-foot mark. Now, if Libby was taking a wound to her neck, that would be roughly at the 4-foot mark. And let's say a little bit of a downward. She was probably right next to the tree when she was attacked. So you have this, and just below it, splatter all over the base of the tree and all over her. Now, if this is an F, that means they applied it with some type of squirt bottle or some kind of tool that they were splashing at the tree, whipping at it almost. Almost like they would have to kind of go up and then another one down. And then a swipe over the top and kind of a whip in the middle. Because this is not rubbing or smudging, in my opinion. If this is an accurate representation, which I think it is. AK says, do you know how long it would take to accomplish all this? Read dressing a dead person alone takes time. Yeah, probably about an hour and a half, I'm assuming. Considering the actual physical act in the murder itself probably only took maybe 5-10 minutes. It had to have been quick. Takes 2 minutes to bleed out. Slathering says, then you have to wonder if they don't hire people to come on streams and pump up their theories, which is possible. Sometimes you get the feeling like somebody's trying to push a narrative, but that in itself is like a conspiracy theory. Some people just have their belief, and they might just be trying to push that. Now we know why the last judge walked away from this trial. He was scared. Yeah, of the bloodlust. Should go check out that Elvis's guy's Facebook. See all these YouTubers on there, crazy trolls, people threatening them, calling him a murderer, asking him why he spit on Abby. It's pure madness. This is from True Crime Web. If I was at a round table arguing possibilities, I would ask, is he numbering his victim count, victim 3 and victim 4, for number of sticks used per body? That's interesting. 3 and 4, right? But that depends. Who do you believe? Do you believe the defense with 4 sticks? 3, 4? Or do you believe Barbara McDonald's source, who shows 5 sticks? So I think that's kind of where I'm stuck at. Who do you believe? What do you believe? Can you believe any of it without actually seeing it for yourself or actually having somebody go in there and do an accurate representation? Hey, what's up, Don? I missed you. Nice. Rock and roll, buddy. Be safe. Have a good night. Good luck. Break a leg. Oh. Yeah, this is where the fairy tale gets creative, right? True crime and other stuff says, plus he confessed to his wife and his mom. Well, let me ask you this, guys. If somebody came up to you and said, if you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to kill your entire family. Like, I don't know about you, but they might get pistol whipped. But most likely, I'll just call the cops, right? I don't know who this person is. Yes, hello, officer. I was, somebody just threatened to kill me and my family. Now, if somebody came up to me that I knew, and I knew for a fact that they were a cold-blooded murderer, and they threatened me, I'm going to take them serious. I'm not going to tell anybody what I know because I don't want my family to die. But first, you would have to have intimate knowledge and proof that this person is going to follow through on those threats. So, I mean, you guys got to ask the question, why did Richard Allen believe those threats? Apparently, he was threatened. More like threat to keep his mouth shut. But I doubt it. Maybe the person that he committed this crime with is into this kind of stuff, and we are looking at ruins, which I don't think we are. Well, I'm not convinced anyway. Maybe him seeing prison guards with Odinism patches, and he's just paranoid. In his mind, they're everywhere. And according to the defense memorandum, he was pretty much having a mental health issue during that very moment. So if these are false confessions, all this other stuff, we're supposed to believe that part, right? The part that's good for Richard Allen, believe that. But the stuff that's bad, we'll go ahead and explain that away. Yeah, Donna, 100%. Hey, what's up, Cold Truth? I've been watching some of your live streams yesterday and today. I just didn't chat. I was lurking. Hope you're had a great time out there at CrimeCon. Okay. So if you ask me, we're looking at an unfinished crime scene. The staging is incomplete. I don't think he wanted to leave the clothing in the creek, but he had to take off. And I think he did this whole stick thing very quickly and then left. Bad acid reflux says if the search warrant gets thrown out, they have nothing on Richard Allen besides him admitting he was there that day. And if the search warrant doesn't get thrown out, then Richard Allen's going to prison for the rest of his life. That's what this fairy tale is all about. Yeah, she may be a witness. Yeah, Cold Truth, be careful out there. Safe travels. Yeah, Anna, that's just a money grab. Or maybe not. You got to prove it. If Abby was lifted up and dressed so carefully, etc., why wouldn't the killer have seen the shoe and phone? See, you got to be careful with these descriptive words. Carefully. What about what you hear makes you think carefully? I don't think there was anything carefully done. I think he was fumbling at one point. He may have even grabbed Abby and the clothing at the same time. You know, a shoe and some clothing in one hand, and then kind of scooped her up. And then when he laid her down, he just dropped everything. Shoe and whatever else was there, you know, and then slowly was just yanking them from underneath. Right? We're going to put this on and we're going to put that on. And then as he's maybe cleaning off some DNA from the other clothing in the creek, he hears some people on the bridge. And he's like, oh shit. And they're all the way to the south end. And he's thinking, okay, if they come down here and look across this creek, they're going to be able to see these girls here. I got to get out of here. All right. So he runs back, you know, on his way towards the cemetery. He throws the sticks. And I think randomly, and the blood on the tree is most likely where he caught up to the second victim, which is Libby, who probably took off running because the attack probably initiated in the water, in my opinion. That's where all her blood went. That's why they couldn't find it. That's my theory. I agree, Anna. The Sims Express. You heard wrong, Mr. YouTuber. I had no idea you couldn't take another point of view without chastising me. See, you're emotional. You're all in your feels. You're not searching for anything. You're lucky I didn't just block you. Mr. YouTube viewer. I can just tell you're a creep. Look at your response. You're creepy. You're like a little kid. Can't even say nothing around here, man. Fucking sleuth, man. Come on. Be a big boy. You can do it. It's nothing personal. I don't even know who you are. Car. Why a car? Mai is a lawyer. This is only an interpretation by the defense claiming Odinism and law enforcement cover up. Yeah. It's just their interpretation. That's why I wanted to compare it to Barbara McDonald's source's interpretation. They're very different. What's up, Pam? David, which was Abby's uncle, saw the crime scene. He said Libby was naked and was covered with sticks. Well, actually said was covered in leaves and sticks, like somebody tried to cover her. Yeah, he never said anything about Abby having sticks on her. That's true. Maybe they were much smaller and you couldn't really see them from a distance. Well, Boston, we just did an experiment. That's just how they naturally fall. You know, sticks have these little pieces of branches that have broken off. They're really like little hooks, and it's easy for them to kind of latch together. All right, so this will be our 5-minute warning. Let me pull up some images. Oh, here it is. So this is all from Barbara McDonald's sources. Much different than what you see in here from the defense, right? Okay, if this is an F, what was the applicator? It definitely wasn't a brush. And then you got to ask yourself, is this representation even accurate? No, it's hard to make a decision on this one. I'm going to have to say inconclusive. Bad acid reflux says, I think we're forgetting that there were sticks mimicking horns. No, I don't know if there were sticks mimicking horns. What you mean to say is we're forgetting that the defense says or interprets horns. They're also saying that what we could be looking at here are ruins. And I 100% disagree with that at this point in time. To me, it looks random. And the fact that Abby is dressed and knowing the time of the crime, when they were abducted, and we also know who and what time other folks were on that bridge, which most likely spooked him and pretty much can explain everything. The clothing found in the creek, the moving and the staging. You're looking at two crime scenes: the creek, that slippery bank, and then a chase into the woods, and then the killer came back. Probably he may have dressed Abby right there, forced them to get undressed, right? Maybe even in the water. Res Kid 100% is playing the OJ method. I was thinking more of the West Memphis 3 method. You know, that was a mind F and a half. They don't have to be runes for the killer to be an Odinist. And it doesn't have to be a ritualistic sacrifice for the killer to be an Odinist. Well, it does, I think, for the crime scene to point at a suspect. Possibly. John the firefighter. Who's that? Yeah, and that's another that's going to be our next live stream. You know, he's had 6 years. Where's his Facebook? It's my understanding after the new direction presser, he deleted his Facebook. So what was it about that presser, if that's true, would cause him to do that? So he had 6 years to erase any connection. And see, we're making that jump. And that's to say what we're looking at are ruins, signatures, and an F painted on a tree with the purposes of communicating a message. I'm not sold on that. Case Crack says Buddy had an hour to cover up. He had an hour and a half to cover up his mess. Not hard to imagine him doing things that would try to throw police off. Green River Killer did the same with Fishy Bot, just was trying to mess with the Popo. Yeah, and if he attacked Abby first in the water, which would explain why you can't really find the blood. You know, it takes 2 minutes to bleed out, and had told them to undress right there, or maybe even on the other side. That could explain why you have clothes in the creek. And another reason why he would want to dress her, if he has to carry her in broad daylight from the creek's edge all the way to where he caught up to Libby, that means anybody that would be looking would see him carrying a naked person. So that could be another reason he put clothes on, so it didn't appear as suspicious, possibly. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, they could be wrong. It might not be a good representation, Slytherings. Yeah, we need an accurate depiction. The absolute most important tie between the Odinist and Brad Holder in the crime is not that he's an Odinist; it's that he's the father of the boyfriend, which is really no connection, right? The only reason we're talking about him is because he was the father of her boyfriend, and he's kind of different. We wouldn't even be talking about him if, you know, if he would have shut down his Facebook immediately, which a guilty person would have done, like Richard Allen did. Where's his Facebook? Why aren't we talking about that? Oh, it's because he deleted it in 2019, apparently. I wonder why he did that. I think it's okay to consider both sides. There's nothing wrong with that. But to be sold and allow yourself to be dragged. Oh, it's Ron Logan. Oh, it's Keegan Klein. Oh, it's Ron Logan again. Oh no, it's Brad Holder. It's oh no, it's Richard Allen. Just look at the evidence. There's nobody putting anybody else at that trail that day. I believe there could have been help, but I don't think so. This looks like a one-man job. He had plenty of time. He puts himself there at the crime scene. He appears to be the man on the bridge. I don't even know if these are signatures. I mean, maybe by definition, no matter what, they are signatures, but I don't think he's trying to communicate a message. Yeah, it could have been, Anna. But the one thing that nobody's talking about is that there were already cut down trees right there. Somebody else came to that crime scene, most likely years before that time, months even, months or years, and cut down trees right there where the girls were found using tools. So just because there's tool marks doesn't mean that the killer went and cut these sticks or cut sticks and brought them. Yeah, Mitchell, at the base of the tree where they found this F, they found blood splatter all over the base of the tree. And where they found this F-shaped thing that which looks like blood splatter was right about 4 feet. So Libby, I think, was about 5'5", maybe a little bit shorter. That would put that mark right around her neck area where her wound was. It makes perfect sense. Splatter on her and the base of the tree and on the tree that she was most likely standing next to when he attacked her. Slathering says if you drag two bodies next to each other, they might just fall that way. Yeah, I have a feeling that this is the way that Libby fell. Both her hands were covered in blood, which means she probably grabbed her wound, maybe even ran into that tree, putting her wound right up against it, and then turning around, kind of stumbling back. And then that might, it could have been momentum that threw the hand back, falling back and just the hand just kind of flies back. Bad acid. It wasn't created by some media outlet. This was provided to Barbara McDonald from her source, who was part of the investigation, who had access to the crime scene photos. And you don't know how accurate it is. And I've said that a million times. If this is an accurate representation, I don't know how many times I have to say that. That's all part of the equation. These are questions that we need to ask. So if it's not an accurate representation, that puts us even further from the truth. Fiend says Brad Holder's oldest kid redressed dead people as his job. He worked at a mortuary. Working at a mortuary doesn't mean that you redress dead people. He might do that. Question is, why would he be at the crime scene, and why would he be doing it at that crime scene? And in order to put them there, you have to say that these are ruins. Right? You got to remember, the only thing that puts them even into the equation is that these are Odinism symbols, ruins communicating some kind of message, some type of ritual, like a spell or something. You have to agree on that before there's any connection to LH, his father, and that family, right? Not to mention, you would have to put them at the crime scene, which nobody seems to be able to do. I mean, just put them in Delphi first. Let's start there. Oh, that's awful. Are you talking about a paintbrush with a pattern? Nobody's going to do that. When you could simply just take a pen and like make the shape, right? You're not going to go into Illustrator, grab a pattern, and then make some random looking shape that hardly looks like an F, right? See, that's the thing. Everybody has an agenda, and I'm just trying to find the truth. Everybody wants it to be what they want it to be, but nobody's looking at the information. Some people are, but not everybody. The people who are the most opinionated about it are the people who have looked at it the least. Like bad acid flux. It's not from the crime scene at all. Okay, well, that means that you know where it is from. And I'm not saying it is accurate. For the 100th time, I'll repeat it. If this is an accurate representation. See, you can't say yes and you can't say no unless you do actually know. I don't know why people do that. It's okay to believe something strongly, right? without trying to get a whole mob behind you. Possibly something was on the shoe. One of them could have kicked one of them, and that's the blood was on the tree, and the shoe ended up in the stream. Yeah, the shoe almost looks like it was cleaned. It almost looks like somebody tried to scrub it away, right? So I'm thinking there was multiple trips to the creek and back. Yeah, just nothing to support that really, Anna. Rez says defense is making up nonsense. That is what defense lawyers do. Biggest example is OJ. This is a distraction. Yeah, if you're looking over there, you're not looking at Richard Allen. And trust me, the prosecution's going to have plenty of time to redirect. You know, the jury's going to open their big eyes just like everybody did. And then the prosecution's going to come in and they're going to be like, okay, here's the bullshit. Let me show you the facts. Here's the crime scene photo for yourself. And then if it looks anything like this, the defense is in trouble because now they're going to be labeled as bullshitters. So they got to be careful not to lose trust. But that's what makes me think that this is just a plea deal masquerading as some weird fairy tale. Or Richard Allen planned this from the beginning. He planned to mislead investigators from the beginning, and now he's spoon feeding information that kind of directed him to do that in the first place. So let's say it is a Rune. That's a Rune, and this is a signature Rune, a binding Rune, placed in blood on the tree. Maybe he's trying to mislead and distance himself from the crime scene and try to point in another direction. That is very common. All right, we're going to do a few more comments, guys, and we're going to get out of here. Bad Acid Reflux says that police CSI YouTube guy, I think you're referring to Steve from True Crime Web, showed how someone created the F blood image. They copy and pasted, was it True Crime Web? A line splatter until it looked like an F. You can't correlate the image to the actual crime scene. And you may be right. But you don't know that for sure. Because you don't know what the actual crime scene photograph looks like. Slathering says, wherever the blood was, it had to show a lot. Yeah, they had to be able to see it clearly. GP, what's up? Mitchell Brown says if he is part of it, then it's not good for him. I don't think he is part of it. I don't think that these are ruins. I don't think that this was placed here to convey a message. I think this is an unfinished crime scene. I think that that is blood splatter, whether it's a pattern found in Adobe Illustrator when you click the paint brush button, it makes a bunch of blood splatters in the shape of what they can see on that tree. Regardless of all of that, it doesn't matter to me. It sounds like it's 4 feet up in the air. We know that Libby took a wound directly to the neck where you have a major artery. The defense has already admitted that right beneath this F symbol, there is blood splatter. So to me, it's very simple, guys. She was attacked, stumbled against that tree. A major artery left that on the tree and beneath it as she moved. Both hands are covered in blood because she grabbed her wound. In shock, most likely moving around, quickly fell, and it was probably over in a minute to 2 minutes. The rest of it, all done in panic by most likely one man. You got it, Bat. Thanks for participating in the chat. Your opinions are always welcome. As long as you stay respectful, you're all good. And you're not creepy. Miss Horse Whispers, what's up? I'm convinced that law enforcement must have found something in the search of his house. I agree too. Why try to get it thrown out? For the defense to go to this length to have it suppressed. Exactly. But then again, they may not want generic items to mislead. You know, you hear, oh, he owned a blue jacket. Kind of like Ron Logan running around in the blue jacket, right? It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Boston says the Flora fire, though, on November 21, 2016, Monticello fire. Seems like a lot going on there. Yeah, they need some new tips in that case. Anything, really. Slathering says, are they really that good, though? Making up a story isn't really a good defense. No, it's just part of a much bigger strategy. You know, what they're trying to say is like, okay, yeah, we're ruining this guy, Brad Holder, and a handful of people. We're ruining their reputation right now. But you're ruining my client's reputation too. You're doing the same thing to him. You see what they're doing? He's trying to compare, you know, everybody's first POI with the new POI, Richard Allen. They're trying to say it's just as preposterous. So they're not even trying to point the finger at Brad Holder. They're just trying to show how you can create a narrative out of thin air. And they're saying the motivation is for political reasons. An election is around the corner. So the same way they pulled Brad Holder out of the air and it looks, you know, it looks very compelling. That's what they're saying law enforcement did to their client. So if they should be punished for what they're doing, then investigators should be punished for what they're doing. That's what they're trying to convey to your subconscious. Kelt says, must have been a challenge to get those cold, wet clothes on. I don't think it would. I don't understand why people think that would be so hard. To me, it's not the task. It's the motivation. Why? Why would you do that? Do you have a personal relationship with this person? Is there something about seeing like their naked body there? You don't, you want to give them some dignity? You have a little bit of conscience left? Who's that, Mitchell? All right, guys, that is my time. Let me grab a few more. Let's grab one from 43 Goblin. So they was out there all night, and the forest was lit up like the stars at night, and nobody seen them. Not until two deer stumble upon them, because nothing brings deer around like decomposing bodies. Well, for one, they wouldn't be decomposing. It was still pretty cold, and it was only like 22 hours. So there wouldn't be decomposing. And yes, 100% deer would be extremely curious, especially if they were just placed in on a deer path. At the crime scene, they found a deer camera, which is another reason I thought that they filmed the crime. Put your own SD card in, and when you're done, take your SD card out. But if you ask anybody that has been to that crime scene, they'll tell you the trees were cut down. That's why when Hannah Shakespeare went over there, she said, "This looks like a theater." It's because it was. Somebody created a theater for the purposes of watching deer and making videos on it. So it only makes sense that the deer would be curious. They're walking through their territory, and there's something foreign. They're not stupid. They know what it is. Yeah, he had to pay his victims for that civil lawsuit. Yeah, you're okay to disagree. Just don't be weird and creepy with absolutes that, unless you're the killer, you wouldn't even have. Bled out in the water. You think Richard Allen was strong enough to drag her to the scene? Yeah, because I'm 5'6". I'm not a tall guy. I can easily lift 200 pounds over my head. That's how I always knew that the bridge guy was like a short, stocky person. Takes one to know one. I always knew it. I wasn't shocked at all. Big shoulders and little chicken legs. Said, I've seen that body type before. Yeah, about Keegan Klein. Yeah, that's very interesting. Might be a little bit of truth to all of that. Yeah, and bad acid reflux, that's really explains how one perpetrator could have committed this. For all we know, he never intended to cross that creek. His goal is just to get them underneath the bridge and away from as far as he could away from anybody that might be walking across the bridge or near the bridge. But there is part of the crime scene when I look at it, I see two different perpetrators. You know, if they're both trying to leave some kind of signature, they look completely different, right? So I'm not ruling out any kind of weird gang initiation. I'm just saying it looks like a one man lone wolf. Not really a lone wolf. He may have had help to lure them there. And I believe that they could have used that deer camera, but I'm not sure. All right, guys, that is all my time. Let me zip through here. What's up, Brandy? You guys, if you could hit the like button on the way out. Replay crew, let me know what you thought about the little experiment that we did where the sticks placed as a way to communicate some kind of message. Or was it just completely random? Trying to conceal the bodies so that the killer could make his escape, which seems to work, you know. If they were searching even around there, if they happen to just kind of flash their flashlight over the surface and there's just a bunch of sticks there, you know, they could have maybe considered they checked. There you go. Lie detector test, alibi, and a DNA and hair follicle test. I'm sure they will volunteer it. Boom, done deal. Put that to bed quick. Devoted to Mariah. Do you think the killer, Richard Allen, had photographed or recorded? Yeah, I think it's possible. I do think it's possible. Only because knowing that there was a deer camera there and that they cut those trees down for the purposes of videotaping deer, anybody that had knowledge of that could easily bring their own SD card, remove the one that was in there, and replace it with their very own and take it with them as they left. Maybe even hand it off to somebody. All right, guys. Sorry I couldn't get to all of your comments. I appreciate everybody who participated. Shout out to you guys. Shout out specifically to Freckle Joy for sponsoring today's live stream. And Solar Chef Steph on her 2-month flex. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the replay crew. Make sure you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Guys, take care. Just kind of scrolling through here. Good to see you, Hiawatha. Hey, good to see you, Tony. Tony says he didn't even flinch. Oh, I definitely flinched. You know, it's hard to resist the I told you so. And that's how you can tell all the people with impulse who can't, you know, they have no control, no self control. They have impulse issues. See, I told you. I told you guys. Without, you know, it hasn't even been proven. It's already been sealed. It may never even be mentioned again. Yep, 100%. And it's okay to play devil's advocate if you agree with me or you disagree. But guys, that's all my time for tonight. I really appreciate all of you, especially those who go out of your way to support my channel. Couldn't do without you. Well, at least not as much. I couldn't spend as much time as I do, that's for sure, without being able to supplement like I do with your help. So shout out to you guys. Thanks again. Let me know what you think in the comments about any of the information that was discussed today. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.